The Waterman is a 2020 American drama film directed by David Oyelowo. In his feature directorial debut from screenplay Emma Needell. Hoping to save his sick mother, a boy ventures into a remote wild horse forest to search for a mythical figure who possesses the secret to immortality. I saw this movie in an early screening. Please forgive me by being late with this review, but there were so many movies I had to watch and review before this one. And I had to watch this again so I can get my mind refreshed. And watching it the first time and watching it now, I'm going to have to say that still, my mind is not different from what I'm about to say. And I'm about to tell you right now, this movie is freaking fantastic. I love this film. Everything on this film was done good. Not perfect, but good. With the character development, the cinematography, the dialogue, the pacing. The pacing doesn't really drag at all. It starts off with a family and with a sick mother. The mother that is played by Rosario Dawson, she played as Mother Boone. Here's the thing. I don't really like Rosario that much as an actress. The reason I'm saying that is because in most of her films, she plays herself. I'm not trying to be vague. I'm not trying to be facetious, but in most of her films, The Clerks, like all of her films, she plays herself. She doesn't really have any iconic scenery towards her screenplay, towards her acting ability. And I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing because there's a lot of actors and a lot of actresses that are guilty with this. Robert Downey Jr., Jason Bateman, sometimes Denzel Washington. All I'm saying is if you act the same way in films, please let it be warranted to what is given to you in the screen. I'm saying that to say this. Her playing the mother on this film, she did a fantastic job. In fact, by her playing a sick mother, not only that it brought me into like the scenes of what she was doing, but I was feeling sorry for her. Like there were scenes where I would see her and there are scenes where she would just break down, she would collapse, and there are scenes where she would just be talking and just be frustrated by her being sick because she knows that she's a burden, and by her husband that just came back from the military. He is trying to put his job aside to try to take care of his family, which the pressure comes in because he has a son to take care of too. So her character has a lot of weight. And it has to because, like I mentioned in the headline, the son tries to go out to save his sick mother by trying to find a cure, which her condition is irreversible. So he tries to seek out help by believing this urban legend that is called the Waterman. And I'm at to say, Rosario, this is a lot to kick in, and I might be wrong by saying this, but I don't think anybody could have done a better job than you. Now talking about the son, Lonnie Davis, that plays Gunnar Boone, I'm at to say, for a young kid, he has done a fantastic job. His acting was very believable. He had a lot of emotional weight towards his character. Same thing with the mother character, Rosario. Now, with his character, there was some problems with him that I did not like. Now, for one, he is a drawer. He sketches. He makes stories just like me. And I love that about his character because his character is believable. Same thing with the family. His family is relatable to mine, how I was when I was a kid. But there was just certain things that he would do that would kind of like take away from my relativity of how he would carry himself. Like, for example, he cherishes artwork. He cherishes his pictures and his novels as he's trying to make a story about a man that is killed. He's a private investigator and he's trying to investigate his own murder. So there's one time when his father comes in and he's trying to have him play outside because he has a bad bond with his son. He treats his son like shit. So he accidentally steps on his drawings because they're on the floor and he gets mad. His son gets frustrated. He runs out the room. Now, even though they made his father they made his father a piece of shit in the movie and we buy into that. I didn't like his father, but his father does have a warranted role into the film of how he tries to win his son over back to having him love him again. But on that scene, I did not blame his father. I felt like if you cherish your pictures that much, why was there on the floor in the first place? Now I know this is a kid, and I know kids do rational things like this when it comes to them lacking responsibility. But even when I was a kid, I was 4 years old, and I put my drawings on a desk. I put them in my book bag. I put them in certain safe spots where stuff like that wouldn't happen. I mean, Gunnar Boone, he had a desk. He had book bags. He carried them around the movie. So I felt like that was just there just to narrate the plot, just so he could be more distant towards his father. That could have been better done. That could have been more creative, in my opinion. Now we have David Oyelowo, the father and the director, starring him. Basically, even though I hated his character, he was a main person that I was looking through a thick microscope to, because I know eventually he's going to have to try to win him over. Because after his son runs away from home to try to find a cure for his sick mother, he begins to feel guilty. He begins to feel as if he's responsible for running away from home in the first place. But let's just be honest. He is responsible. He felt like he wasn't needed. He wasn't needed because ever since his father has came back from the military, it kind of drawn frustration towards the family. He has to take care of his wife. He has to take care of his son. There are certain things that his son is into that he may not be into. For example, the father, he's into military tactics. So at the same time, if he's into stealth, into doing things when it comes to physical combat, common sense would say he's into sports. So like I mentioned, he tried to let him go outside and play basketball or play softball or whatever. And his son was not into that. He's mostly into drawing, artwork, and just trying to push things in towards his novel, basically inside activities. So that kind of drifted away from him bonding into him. So that kind of got into a frustration ratio towards a father character. He doesn't hate his son, but he treats his son like shit. But his son is too young to realize this, so he runs away from home because it's too much pressure. So he feels like if he's going to leave home, let me try to find a cure for my mother because she's the only one that cares about me. And the father realizes this, so without telling the mother the situation, he tries to keep it to himself for a short while, but the mother ended up finding out. I love Rosario. So he tries to win him over. He tries to find him through the forest, and the forest is very well alive. So much shit going on in the forest. And even though he is a 10-year-old kid, he has help. He has a young girl helping him in his journey. Her name is Jo. And even though he needs help, they're just young kids. And it puts you at the state of thinking like, man, are they gonna survive? What's gonna happen? Like, for a movie like this that focuses on two young kids in a forest by themselves, where anything can happen, they can get kidnapped. There's so much shit in the forest that could really put them on the edge of death. I thought that was bold, and it was well warranted. Now, here's the problems of the film. Well, I only got one. One, when the father reaches the son, they just make up. I feel like after all the things that they have been through with each other, I felt like that was way too coincidental. I felt like his father there should have been more meat to the table for him to grind through so he can win his son over. I mean, I know your son has ran away and he's been through a lot of shit to try to save his mother, but at the same time, what has he been through for him to win you over, for him to love you again? I feel like you should explain yourself as a father to try to apologize to your son of the shit that you have put him through. Then us as the audience would have bought into the believery of you making up to your son. And another thing that I don't have a problem with it because I understand, but some audience may not like the ending of The Waterman. I thought the ending was necessary. It's not bad and it's not good. I don't want to spoil it, but some people may be a little frustrated of how the ending replicated. But all I'm going to say is this. Pay very close attention to the character development of Gunnar Boone and how he progresses to try to find a waterman, and you will see why the movie ended the way it ended. But other than that, I love this film. I love this film a lot. I thought this movie was very well warranted. I thought this movie was very well done, very well crafted. A couple of little nitpicks did and there, but at the same time, I can't really justify the package of the film and what it's supposed to be when it comes to trying to show us as a fans, other than the ending that needs to be explained. I'm gonna have to give The Waterman a B minus. Movies like this is kind of hard for me to review because when they have like subliminal messages that they don't really want to explain to you, but they want you as a viewer to try to make sense of by just what they want you to pay attention is what I'm essentially saying. But I feel like with The Waterman, it's not confusing, but it's common sense. I'm not saying that the kid found the waterman. I'm not saying the kid didn't find the waterman. All I'm saying is the kid gets what he wants. But at the same time, the way how things play out may not satisfy the viewers, but it satisfied me because I feel like this is a film that's all about common sense. And things are not going to be handed out to you unless you really deserve it. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.